I do want to talk about the guy that, hopefully will be starting for the Niners next season. Trey Lance, obviously, his mobility is going to be a big part of his game. And I wrote an article over on All 49ers SI talking all about this. You guys should go check that out. With Lance and his mobility, I think, first off, the obvious thing in terms of him improving the 49ers offense is 49ers run game is going to be better. If you look, this past season, they were top 5 in attempts, but they were middle of the pack in yards per attempt as a running attack. And that is not what you need out of a Kyle Shanahan offense. And it doesn't seem like they were maximizing their efficiency with that, especially with what they were doing with Deebo Samuel. How could they not add to what they were already doing? So I think if you look at those 2 games, Jose, that Trey Lance started, obviously it's a small sample size, but their yards per attempt was higher in both games than their season average. Mm-hmm. And I think it's pretty clear that just by Trey being in the game, he adds a different dimension to this running game that just is not there with Garoppolo, because Garoppolo is a non-factor.
I think also I know it's not necessarily mobility, but in the Texans game, there's something by Next Gen Stats that talked about, what was it, air yards or depth target, something like that. It was the most averaged by a quarterback for the 49ers in like 8 years, pretty much since Cap days when he was in his prime. So that, I mean, Jesus, that's right there. And then you can see the pass chart. It wasn't just like a cone in the middle. It was literally all spread out. So that's why I loved about watching that. It's like, yes, utilize everything. So it's not just about the mobility, about he can go horizontal in the backfield. So it's kind of funny how the Next Gen Stats has that heat map where it shows you where he's delivering his targets. It's not just that Garoppolo has a cone just straight in the center of the field. It's, if you look at his pocket presence, it's just a cone too in the center of the field between the hashes, where Lance, it's going to be both ways. Heat map targeting throws left to right, heat map scrambling in the pocket left to right. Maybe not sideline, but that's something that adds like a new element, whether it's designed or not. But one thing I want to see more of, because I'm not going to speak with such certainty, is I felt like Lance sometimes was moving a little bit sooner than he needed to in the pocket, which, is understandable. No duh. That's your first 2 games out there, especially in the Seattle game, maybe I'm thinking of. I'm not going to hold that against him. Even if he played like half a season, I won't hold that against him. That's something you got to work through, and something that your coaches should probably, when you're practicing, is, all right, we're going to spend like an hour on this. Go do it. Go learn how to shuffle your feet. That's something that Shannon talks about the most with quarterbacks, is footwork. And it's why we hate Jimmy Garoppolo with his tap dancing and throwing off his back foot and all this ugly atrociousness that we see from him, that you hope to see from Lance more. And especially with like his release, instead of having that loopy release, having that late thing. Because the one thing Garoppolo has, which, it's not an elite trait that, other beat writers will try to like boast about his quick throwing motion. Like, great, you're a quarterback with a quick throwing motion. Awesome. Welcome to the NFL. But that's one thing Lance needs to just work on the most, because his mobility, and that all like ties into mobility, is not just like, okay, let's roll him on boot actions, which hopefully we see more of that again, because I feel like, I don't even know the breakdowns or where to look at these stats, is what the usage of the bootleg action plays or anything like that was this season. But I felt like it was the lowest under Shanahan in forever. I remember first year covering the team, 2019, that's all it was. Flow everyone one way, and it's not just the Y leak. It's just, and I think it's because they realize Garoppolo sucks under center, and I think that's ultimately where they stemmed from. And I don't know if Lance is going to be too much better than that, but at least they know like he has the physical tools, and he's a bit of a freak of nature where it's like he bounces out, defender in his face. Oh, I'm just going to pop it in there. So there's a lot more capabilities. The ceiling is definitely raised. Whether he's going to execute it at a fine level is a question mark. He probably won't at first.
No,
but it's just a whole new dynamic added that's going to make the offense more dangerous.